I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on MengLong. MengLong was a Chinese public star. MengLong died of an accidental fall from a high-rise balcony inside the Sunshine Upper East compound in Beijing due to heavy intoxication. The immediate police report confirms September the 11th, 2025. That was 2 months ago. So this case is still open and fresh. Now, Menglong, however, sources say autopsy revealed that there were no such injuries to his body that would confirm an accidental fall from a balcony. But instead, not only was he dead before the fall, there was no shattered legs, no compressed spine, no classic fractures expected from such an impact. The autopsy was said to have revealed deep bruises on his wrist and neck shaped like restraint marks, a punctured wound on his left thigh, allegedly from a neurotoxic injection. Blood alcohol levels 3 times the lethal limit. Yet no strong odor of alcohol. Sedative traces mixed into his stomach contents. This is wild. And under his fingernails, foreign male DNA that didn't belong to him. Sounds like he was fighting for his life, but we're going to find out. His abdomen was cut open and sewn back shut. Documents describe the incision as precise, deliberate, and post-mortem. Post-mortem is occurring or performed after death. This sounds like some wild exorcism type shit. Now, another source reports that his family was threatened to keep quiet. A forensic team analysis states that what Menglong went through before death was not human. He was beaten and tortured. This is sad. A 17-guest dinner took place earlier that day, including Menglong, that involved meetings about an upcoming film. What really happened to Menglong? Was this a drunk accident? No foul play? Or was he tortured, corrupted, and was it a staged death? All that shit that they said they did to his body, I believe myself that it was a staged death. But we're going to find out what happened. I've had time to sit with his charts. I'm tuned into his energy. I'm going to pull cards. I've been listening to his music for the past, not even an hour, about 30 minutes, while I was working on his case, while I was, charting the planets and all of that. I have his birth chart planets in front of me, where the planets were aligned the day he was born. And I also have where the planets were aligned the day he died. Now, I'm also going to tell you this. I had to run out earlier to run some errands. And how I know Menglong has been on my spirit today, because at a red light in front of me was a license plate that read U88. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he was born June 15th, 1988. It's right up here on the charts. But that's how the license plate read YU88, and then there was some other numbers and stuff, letters and stuff like that. But that stood out to me because all day today, I have been watching podcasts, videos, media on Menglong. So what are the odds that I run out to do some errands and see a license plate in front of me at the red light that reads YU88? Come on now. Energy don't lie. But I know he is letting me know he's with me because he knows I'm going to solve this case. I am a high ranking oracle. Astro oracle psychic. You are about to witness a high ranking Astro oracle reading. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my Astro oracle investigations. So what really happened to you MengLong? Now, also, because I'm done with the information, but also as I was watching, they was talking about, they was discussing about his upcoming film, but there were also some contracts involved too. And see, we're going to talk about that because I also seen that in the charts too about these contracts. And see, you MengLong, he was the type, he turned down anything that would be a natural common sense threat. Now, you MengLong had a lot of common sense. But he was a normal, talented individual who wanted to rise. He just wanted to do what he does best. Aside from all of that sick shit that a lot of stars are exposed to. There's a lot of sick people in the world. Like power, wealth, you have uh, money hungry monsters and power hungry monsters in the world. They are predators. Like they rule the world, of course, through theft. They rule the world, do theft and murder, and they rise to these positions where they have power to help other people who just innocently want to show the world what they know how to do and get a wealthy living off of that to take care of their families in peace. Nobody wants to go through all that sick shit. That sick, predatory, pedophile, sick shit that these rituals that they be going through. Like, I don't understand that. So, Yu Long was one of those individuals, and he was exposed to a lot of sick shit, and he had to keep a lot of sick secrets. Also, when it came to them cutting open his stomach, like they say, I also seen where at some point they said he swallowed um, a flash drive. I think it was. He swallowed some type of flash drive that had information on it pertaining to this really huge money laundering scheme or thing, evidence of money laundering somewhere. But I mean, swallowing of, I don't know. We're gonna get into it though, okay? Because I promised you MengLong. Once I seen that license plate, I almost had tears in my eyes because in my dreams I see them. Like I see all of these people waiting in line on the other side, all of these souls that where there are no answers, all these cases that went overlooked from missing men, women, and children. Like I be seeing long lines of people, and I'm sitting right here in my dreams, and there's a whole line of people waiting for me to do their case. I mentioned this to y'all in a lot of my previous videos. Good thing I understand who I am. Because like I always say, if I didn't, I'd be somewhere seeking medication. So I'm able to harness and embrace all of this uh, spiritual awareness, but it's scary to the unevolved soul. See, my soul is very evolved, highly evolved. So I'm not scared of the dark. I'm not scared of the voices. I'm not scared of the visions. Okay, I'm not scared of the craft. But if your soul is not highly evolved, like, oh my God, people like me, we're crazy. Like we're in psych wards, demented, strung out on drugs, strung out on alcohol because we don't understand how sensitive we are. And for the record, I've been there. This is how I know. I cleaned up my entire life on purpose. to sit right here in front of you after establishing a healthy relationship with who I've always been all along. And the universe, the spirit, spared my life because it knew that I was going to be sitting here developing, exposing this gift. It knew that one day I was going to develop a healthy relationship with my spiritual awareness. I could never run from it. So I'm facing it, and I've been facing it for the past years and years and years. I'm no spring chicken. I look good for my age, and that's not even, I'm not even being arrogant. Like, I look good for a lot of shit that I done been through, because it's on purpose. I'm not a spring chicken. I just ain't wake up one day and go study something and, and just come before you with all of this intensity. It don't work like that. You can hear the depth in my soul when I talk, the way, what I do, how I do it, how I speak, how I say what I say, even the excitement that I get, even jumbling over my words. You can tell this shit been sitting in me for a long time. It's like a whole bunch of water that's just coming out, overflowing. Let's get to you, MengLong. I just had to have a grateful moment right quick in front of my viewers and subscribers, so y'all know a little bit more about this high-ranking oracle that I call myself Supreme. I may do a video too about who is Supreme. Okay, and yeah, I might do a video with that. But anyway, this is about you, MengLong. So he was born June 15th, 1988. The sun was in Gemini and the moon was in Cancer. And y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. When you put a Cancer moon in Gemini's house, which is the third house, that's the Cancer moon right there, Taurus comes first. Taurus comes first. Now, when I pull his death chart, the death chart is going to let us know why Taurus is coming first in his birth chart. Okay? So, let's get to his death chart. The day Yu MengLong was found dead, September 11th, 2025, which was 2 months ago, the sun was in Virgo and the moon was in Taurus. A synchronicity right off the top. We're going to connect that dot. But that's not the reason why. It is the reason why Taurus came first in his birth chart, but that's not the reason I was looking for. But however, that is a part of the investigation because the moon is there. That plays a very major role. That the moon was in Taurus, and Taurus comes first in Yu MengLong's birth chart. So when you divide the sun by moon cycles, the moon was in Taurus. So you put a Taurus moon in Virgo's house, which is the sixth house. Virgo rules the sixth house. Look what comes first. Sagittarius. Now, if you want to know why Sagittarius is coming first, look inside of Yu MengLong's birth chart. Look where Sagittarius is. In the 8th house. Y'all been watching my investigations. Y'all know what the 8th house is, right? That's the house of death. That's the house that I look into to find out whether who I'm doing the investigation on is dead and how they actually died. So in the birth chart, I see Sagittarius in Yu MengLong's house of death. Does that mean that that's why he's dead? We know he's dead, but that's not how I locate whether he's dead or not. That's how I locate what most likely happened. Now that we know he's dead, even if I didn't know he was dead, I would look in his death chart in the 8th house and connect the dots and see how these go together. His 8th house and the 8th house the day he died. Look what's in the 8th house of death the day Yu MengLong actually died. Cancer. Sounds familiar? His moon is in Cancer. Look at the synchronicities. Yu MengLong's moon is right here in the house of death. And the moon rules Cancer. So where was the moon that day to elaborate on his actual death? Because this was a death that hit close to home. Because Cancer is the mother, the home, and the family. Cancer is the domestic energy. Now, in MengLong's house of death, I see Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the energy of the foreigner. It is the energy of long distance travels. It is the energy of hiking the woods. It is the energy of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It is the house of churches. Okay? It is the house of our faith. All right? Now, why is this energy? What does MengLong's faith and higher knowledge have to do with the domestic energy surrounding his death? Let's find out where Jupiter is, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Jupiter, the day MengLong died, was in Cancer, right here in the house of death. You cannot make this up. I tell it to you every time. You cannot make this up. Okay? So, Cancer is a domestic energy. We now know that this energy right here has a lot to do with what was going on in his family. You know what this also tells me? When the domestic energy shows up in the house of death, when we actually know that somebody's dead, eighth house is also the house of inheritance. Make sure y'all are looking at my tutorial that I always link in the description below. It is a timestamp video where you can go to that video. It's called Astro Oracle Tutorial, where you can go there and click on any sign, any house number that you hear me talk about, and any planet that you hear me talk about or pull in any of my cards or in any of my charts. So that way I will give you a general meaning of what that sign means, what that house number means, and what the planet means. So when you see how it shows up, when you see how that particular sign shows up in a particular house, you will understand how I formulate my story. When the domestic energy shows up in the house of inheritance, this lets me know that this death was about a person who was worth more dead than alive. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Jupiter was in Cancer. So we know the family was involved. The family's energy was involved. Does that mean somebody in his family pushed him off the balcony? No, it doesn't even mean that he fell from the balcony. Okay, because the autopsy clearly shows that something happened before he died. He was tortured, like he was cut open. Was they trying to find that flash drive that he swallowed? And if they were, why? This was about money. This was about money. Okay? Taurus represents his image. Taurus is in the first house, right? The first house represents the body. That's Aries' house. Okay? Taurus is the energy of food, shelter, clothing. It is also the energy of our five senses: sight, taste, smell, hearing, touch. So, Taurus comes first. Now, the day MengLong died, look where Taurus was at. Taurus was right here in Virgo's house. Virgo is the workforce. Virgo is also the hospital. It is the medical field. Virgo is the medical energy. Okay? So all of the surgical evidence found on his body and these incisions is a sixth house experience on his body. And it shows you right here. His body is in the first house, because the first house always represents your body. Where was his body at the day he was found dead? In the medical energy. Okay? So I can clearly see that they did work on him. They worked on him surgically. They tortured his body surgically. Now, where was Virgo at throughout all of this? Okay? Now, Virgo was in the 10th house. Whoever did this was a doctor. Okay? The 10th house represents an authority figure, a medical authority figure. The Virgo represents the medical energy, and the 10th house is Capricorn's house. Okay? And Capricorn represents the authority figure. Now, this is a ninth house chart the day he died. Look what's in the ninth house, though, in MengLong's birth chart. Capricorn, the medical authority figure. Okay? Now, it was also said that at this 17 guest dinner that they was discussing these upcoming films, uh, there were many popular high financial status bosses at that dinner. Okay, I don't forgot a lot of their names, but one of their names stood out. I think his name was Bo Zalai. I did a reading where that name came out in the reading, and if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't had time to go back to that reading, but if I'm not mistaken, that name came up in a reading that I did on somebody else from China. I even forgot her name. But if you go on my channel, matter of fact, I'm going to link, when I finish this, I'm going to link that video where Bo Zalai's name came out. I can't remember because I'm not in that spirit. I'm in MengLong's spirit right now. But I'm going to finish this reading and I'm going to go back because I believe it was that reading where that girl, they wanted to know whether the girl was actually killed and her body was put on display. She was pregnant. So at like a body arts museum, something like that, and come to find out it was. Okay, and I think that's the reading that Bo Zilai's name came out. Okay, but there was other Chinese people, the high-ranking Chinese people, name that sounded familiar. Okay, but now back to MengLong's energy, because Bo Zilai obviously is in his energy too. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing these names correctly. So what I also see is that they poisoned his food at that dinner. They put something in his food on purpose, okay? Because that was prepping the body. That was prepping what he was going to later go through, which would have made it easier for them to do what they did to him. Now, there were contracts involved. How do I know that? Because, and also these contracts, they were rejected. MengLong fought these contracts. He did not want to be a part of this upcoming thing that they were doing, these plans that they wanted to involve him in. Okay, because Libra represents the energy of contracts and the seventh house. Okay, and the day that MengLong was found dead, Mars, which is the assassin, the fighter in us. Mars is our fighting energy. Mars was in Libra the day MengLong died. So he fought Libra energy. He fought contracts. The day he died in the house of contracts, you see Gemini, which is the energy of the contract, the writing, the interaction, the signatures in the house of contracts. Okay? Mars was in Libra. Where was Libra at? Libra was in Aquarius's house, the 11th house right here, because it was more than one. Remember, this was a 17 guest dinner where these contracts and all of these conversations were taking place. But not only that, the 11th house represents the group and the team. It represents MengLong's friends, his circle, his team, his entourage. Somebody on his team was hiding. You know how I know that? Because Mars rules Aries. And Aries is in the 5th house. That's Leo's house. That is the house of the entertainment industry. And Leo is in the 9th house, which is the entertainment energy. It's in the 9th house where the authority figure in MengLong's energy, this medical authority figure, this wasn't just any old authority figure that was sitting at the table with MengLong. This was a medical authority figure. Somebody in the medical field. A high-ranking medical authority figure at that. And this was about money. Because look what's in the 2nd house. That's Taurus's house. Capricorn. That's the goat. That is the authority figure. That authority figure that's in the 9th house of MengLong's chart, where he is the entertainer. This was about the entertainment industry as well. A lot of shit that goes on in the entertainment industry. Now, Leo rules the sun. MengLong's sun is in Gemini. So this is where he was at the day he died. Those contracts, he was fighting those contracts because he's a Gemini and he's in the house of contracts. That day, Mars was in Libra. So he was fighting these contracts, which other people were also involved in as well. And Aquarius is right here in the third house, which is Gemini's house, which is the house of local interactions, where they gathered together that day for that dinner to discuss these contracts. These were groups and organizations of people responsible for these contracts. I'm going to give MengLong, and see, he was sensitive about these contracts because look where his Cancer is at in the third house. That's his moon. The moon represents our sensitivity, and Cancer is the most sensitive because Cancer rules the moon. Cancer rules the emotions. MengLong was in his feelings about this conversation. And he wasn't going for it. He was standing up for himself verbally. He was saying shit they did not want to hear. They heard his mouth and what was coming out his mouth and the type of power and opportunity that he had to make these higher ups pick up their face. That is why they stepped in and said, we got to stop this. Because he got the power to make me pick up my face. And if you know anything about them higher ups in the authority thing in the entertainment industry, that's one thing that you do not do. You do not make them, they have a saying, I think it's called, you do not make them lose face. Or you do not make them, in other words, pick up their face. That's what we call it, where we from. You know, so MengLong had that power and opportunity. MengLong, what happened to you? You've been in my energy all day. What happened to you? MengLong, born June 15th, 1988, who was said to have died from falling from a balcony in Beijing, September 11th, 2025. What happened to you? I'm going to pull 3 cards. Tell us what happened to you. One, 2, 3. He pulled it in 3 signs. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. All water signs. These are the water signs. These are all the water signs. Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Right? This was all water signs. So the water trine, which represents the trine. A trine represents signs that all share the same element. The fire trine is Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. The air trine is Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. The water trine is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Okay? Now, we know that MengLong's moon is in Cancer. And I just got finished telling you, he was right here communicating at the table with these people. Group of people in his 10th house. A successful group of people. And there was a medical professional sitting there too. Okay? Now, where was Pisces? What was Pisces doing? Because he pulled Pisces. Let's follow Pisces to see why he pulled Pisces. First, where was Pisces at in his chart? Pisces is right here in Aquarius' house. Okay? Somebody was hiding. Pisces represents the hidden. And he pulled it right there in the 11th house. And that's where this contract is at. Libra energy. The partnership, the contract, the obligation, the signatures that they needed. Somebody was hiding. Let's follow who was hiding. Neptune rules Pisces. Let me see if there's any planets in Pisces that day. Ooh, yup. MengLong got Mars there. So somebody was fighting him. This hidden person, who was this? The day he died, what was going on in Pisces? Saturn. Saturn was in Pisces, and Saturn rules Capricorn, which is the medical professional. You can't make this up. Saturn was in Pisces. And we know that, and then his Neptune rules Pisces. MengLong's Neptune is in Capricorn, the medical professional. And his Neptune, Neptune, the day MengLong was found dead, was in Aries, right here in the 5th house. The 5th house is also the house, not just of the entertainment industry, but the 5th house is the house of romance as well. Could this have been a hidden romantic involvement as well? That goes on in the entertainment industry too. Authority figures, older men, younger men, older men, younger women, older women, younger men, older, all the combinations. Gay, straight, bi, trans, all of that. There are women in the entertainment industry that you don't even know were born a man. And there are men in the entertainment industry that you don't even know were born women. The rabbit hole goes deep. Let me tell you. So, why Neptune led us to Aries in the 5th house of romance? So, what was going on in MengLong's 5th house? Since we on this 5th, look, the medical professional, right there in the 5th house, the medical professional that introduced that contract. Look at the contract energy right there in Virgo's house that he didn't want to sign. He was hiding. He was hiding. That's why this Pisces card came out. Why did Scorpio come out? Scorpio is the energy of death. Scorpio rules the 8th house. And like we said in the beginning, Sagittarius is there. And Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And Jupiter is in Cancer the day he died. And Cancer is in the house of death the day he died. So we know what's going on in Scorpio's house. But where's Scorpio at? Scorpio in MengLong's chart, birth chart, is right here in the 7th house of the contract. So there was something going on that may have already been signed, the fine print, saying that they had permission to take his life. Look at Scorpio right there in the house of contracts. Now, where was Scorpio at the day he died? Look, hiding. The 12th house is the hidden. That's Pisces' house. And Pisces was pulled. And it took us to his 11th house, hiding in the group. The individual, this authority figure, was hiding in the group. You know how I know that? Because this is Aquarius' house. Look where Aquarius is at. Right there in the 10th house of authority figures. What type of authority figure? The medical authority figure. Yeah. Tell your story, MengLong. Let's follow Pluto to elaborate on why he was hiding this death. All along, Pluto in MengLong's chart is in Scorpio right here. And Pluto, the day MengLong died, was in Aquarius. The authority figure that was hiding in the group, the medical authority figure that was... Yeah. Whoever this medical authority figure is, I believe, is the same person that's responsible for that girl that they killed, that was pregnant, that they put on display. I'm gonna tag that reading. Make sure y'all go look at that reading. I forgot, I can't think of her name, but I did that reading months ago. I'm gonna tag it below. And y'all are gonna see the same name that came out. I believe it's Bozai Lai. That name sounds familiar. The only time I remember mentioning that name was under one of my Chinese readings. That's such. I mean, you remember that. So yeah, yeah. They tortured. They tortured. They tortured this young man because he had a lot of power, because he had a lot of information. He knew a lot of things that he did not agree to. So it's like, hold on. And I heard that they found out he was recording the dinner. You know, that's checkmate right there. Like, you recording the whole meeting and dinner and you don't even want to follow through. So now you think we're going to let you walk away with all this information that you have? Information is power. Knowledge is always power. They wasn't going to let him walk away disagreeing. Okay? That's like trying to get an undercover job and they tell you, look, this is what we really doing. Okay? Now that you here, you in the interview, this is what we really doing. And we need your signature right here to follow through. This is how much you're going to be getting or whatever. And then you say no. You be like, yeah, I'm not interested. What? No. And you think you finna walk out of here after you said no? After we done showed you exactly what we really up to? All this information that you have? You really think we gonna let you walk free? You think you finna walk out of here with all that information? No. No. And I believe that's what happened.